Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today with a super exciting bit of news, and as you can tell with the game we're talking about, Knights of the Old Republic, I am off the walls with excitement. But this is a rumor, so do keep that in mind as we go forth and take it with a grain of salt so you don't get burnt. Don't be an idiot like me and get really hyped for something that might not happen here. Anyway, the rumor is BioWare is prototyping a KOTOR reboot right now. Oh yes, so let's go through this whole article. I'll have it linked in the description for you guys to check out, and I'll give my thoughts afterwards. By the look of things, we may have a new Knights of the Old Republic game on our hands soon enough. While only a rumor for now, EA's BioWare Austin, which developed the Star Wars MMO The Old Republic, is apparently, quote, prototyping, end quote, a new KOTOR game. Now, while I'm not a big fan of the Star Wars MMO, it's mainly just because of the fact that it's not Knights of the Old Republic. I feel that it doesn't do justice to the series in that way of what made that series popular, but not the fact that it's a bad game. This bit of information comes by way of gaming journalist Liam Robertson, who discussed this topic recently on his Patreon page. Yes, this rumor came from a Patreon podcast, which is one of the most random startups I've ever heard. Anyway, note that as Robertson did not reveal his sources, this falls very much into the rumor category for the time being. Liam says, "I've learned now that BioWare Austin is pretty much now exclusively working on Star Wars games, and they're going to be doing that for the indefinite future." He said that during a podcast segment. What they're currently working on right now, and I have good authority, is a sort of remake / revival of Knights of the Old Republic. I don't know when this is set to come out, but it has been in development for a little while now. There have been plenty of rumors revolving around a Knights of the Old Republic remake / revival, so this just does line up with all of the discussion we've been having for the past 2 years or so, I'd say. Robertson, who is known for his work with Unseen 64 and Did You Know Gaming, added that while the game began as a KOTOR remake, it has since transitioned into a new project. "I don't really know how that game will end up," he said. "I've heard that it isn't exactly a remake anymore, but it started as a remake / revival. Now it's kind of going from that blueprint in sort of its own original thing. I guess we'll have to see what it turns out to be, but they are prototyping it right now." Robertson later speculated that it won't be a straight-up KOTOR 3, instead it'll offer a new take on the Star Wars universe. "I think this is sort of like wiping the slate clean," he said. "I think that this is going to embrace the new Star Wars universe lore because Knights of the Old Republic was sort of just pushed into the expanded universe, the Legends canon of Star Wars." Jordan Mason, the chief and editor at Cinelinx, reported last September that a remake or remaster was in the work for KOTOR. However, that project was put into stasis by EA after internal issues in regards to Star Wars Battlefront. If you remember, I went on a little mini tangent on that, but proceeded to freak out as well in the fact that there was a rumor that this IP was still alive. Robertson's report also appears to line up with Mason's story that there was a KOTOR remaster in development at one point. Assuming Robertson's sources are correct, it seems that it may have moved out of stasis and into a new project. And that is pretty much the gist of the article. So now I want to give my thoughts overall on this. Number one, I'm not shocked that it won't be a straight up KOTOR 3. I think that's a pipe dream, and I would be very shocked if we saw a sequel to a highly demanded game over a decade later. As much as I want Knights of the Old Republic 3, Drew Karpyshyn, the lead writer of the first Knights of the Old Republic, actually concluded the story for Knights of the Old Republic through a book about Revan himself. And it's a really great read. I've recommended it multiple times on the channel, but for me personally, I feel like KOTOR 3 will never actually see the light of the day, especially since the original one by BioWare was canceled in I think 2006 as an Xbox 360 game. I did mention on the podcast, funny enough this week, that if I were to see a Knights of the Old Republic come to life in any way, shape, or form, that I was really hoping it wouldn't be a full, from the ground up remake that would change little things about the game that were really special, but just a reboot, up the graphics a little bit, and leave the game as is. What has me really excited here is that the fact that this IP just still might have life, which is something I really didn't expect as someone who loves this series so much. I really thought it was kind of dead and gone. Seeing that there actually once again is another rumor about this reboot / remake happening is genuinely exciting for obvious reasons, because I think this is the best game ever made, hands down, bar none, and to see it come back would be fantastic. My concern is that they're turning it into a new project, meaning that this is likely going to be the rumored Star Wars RPG. Will it be in the Knights of the Old Republic name though? I'd imagine so, because that does fit into the expanded universe that was mentioned in this article, and that would be allowed under the new canon of Disney. Also, I think a fresh start is necessary because the first Knights of the Old Republic came out many years ago, and a lot of gamers who have stepped into the gaming sphere have likely missed this game, and I do feel bad if you have, and if you have not played this game, please for the love of God do so, because they are both incredible titles. I think that 2 feeds off of 1 quite a bit, but if you play the first one, you'll love the second one in my opinion. but since the rumor is stating that it's starting to end up into its own project, that does lead to a bit of concern. Now, I know it's a different BioWare, but their last title, Mass Effect Andromeda, from just BioWare in general, did not really instill much confidence in me on how they handle role-playing and world-building like Knights of the Old Republic and Dragon Age Origins, the, in my opinion, gold standard from BioWare, actually did. That's why I said I'd just like this game to be revived, up the graphics, make it look prettier, and ship the product as is, no changes to the quest, nothing different. Because if you played the game yourself, or if you've gone and watched the playthrough, whether it's my own or someone else's out there, then you'll know that this game does choice and consequence in a fantastic fashion, and it's littered all over the place. And BioWare nowadays just doesn't do that anymore. Perhaps the blueprint they're referring to is Knights of the Old Republic. Are they going to take the pillars that made Knights of the Old Republic special and build off of that? I wouldn't have much of an argument of that, but then again, you had a great blueprint for Mass Effect 1, 2, and maybe 3 for some of those out there. I like 3 personally. But then you have Andromeda, which was an okay game, but the blueprint on how to make a good Mass Effect game was clearly written out for them. What is relieving to hear through this rumor, though, if it is true, is the fact that it has come out of stasis and is now in development once again. And with Star Wars Celebration coming up, I think that might be a little too soon to expect something, but during EA Play at the E3 week, that would be a perfect place to announce this project. To add more fuel to the fire, this tweet came last month from BioWare's Drew Karpyshyn, who, like I said, is the lead writer on the first KOTOR game. And when someone asked, hey, are you working on a new game? He said yes. But that's all I can say. Hell, I might have already said too much with a smiley face. So that obviously doesn't say like, hey, I'm working on Knights of the Old Republic. But the fact that the KOTOR writer is working on something is definitely a good sign. Like I said, it's amazing to see that there's life to this IP. I really hope that this comes true. I've said this so many times in a poor me fashion, but it's like everyone's gotten their remakes and remasters for every game under the sun. I'm really hoping that finally Knights of the Old Republic gets the treatment it deserves. Once again, we've seen life in the past with this IP through a random update to KOTOR 2, which gave it controller support, achievements, updated visuals, and resolutions, and it really didn't have much of a reason to. So there is still most certainly something brewing with this IP. Hopefully, this actually ends up being a true rumor. We'll have to wait and see. Unfortunately, a lot of what he said happened to line up with what previous rumors have stated, so it seems there's a consistent narrative going on here, which does lead to it being more true than false. But time will tell. Fingers heavily crossing my toes, crossing everything I freaking got, man. And I'd love to hear what you guys think about this in the comments down below. I'm gonna go take a breather now, really just decompress and appreciate the fact that there might be a new Knights of the Old Republic game. Anyway, if you guys want a KOTOR fix, like I said, I have a new series going on my channel. Every Wednesday, we do a long play episode where it's just a big KOTOR fest for about 45 minutes to an hour. So I hope you guys check that out if you want to get a little fix in there. Other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, the links are in the description down below. Do consider contributing to our Patreon. It helps fuel all the content we create here, but sadly, we don't do what Liam does and leak KOTOR news, so I hope that's okay with you guys. Other than that, though, stay sexy, stay active, I love you all, peace.